What's your reporting on Ben Johnson and his decision-making that led to him staying with Detroit?
Well, I'm trying to find out, and I'm going to try very hard here not to be a jerk, or at least as big of a jerk as I just was on the score in Chicago.
Okay.
Because it was shefty between you and me that first time 15 years ago down in Tampa. The outdoor set right by the water. It was great. It was perfect. Anyway.
Yes.
I'll ask you this question. When you're going to report that someone's asking price is so high that it spooked teams.
Yes.
What do you need to do before you put that out there? What would your instincts tell you as a trained and experienced journalist? If someone tells you someone's asking price has spooked multiple teams, what would you do before you put it out there? I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just curious.
Okay. Ask multiple sources, get a second one in or something like that? Or
at some point, don't you go to the guy or his agent and say, I give him a chance to respond? That's one thing I've learned in the 23 years of trial and error, more error than trial, on how to do this job. There are certain things we just have to have our antenna up for, okay, this is probably something we should give the person a chance to respond before we go with it. Because this could damage the guy. This could take him out of the upper echelon for next year. It could be Bobby Slowick next year as this year's Ben Johnson. The idea that he wants too much money, that he's unreasonable, that we don't want him. This is a delicate industry. There's only 32 spots, and if you get a bad reputation, it's hard to live it down. So now it's out there that this guy wants too much money. Well, first of all, how much money does he want? If we know how much he wants, then we're in a position to judge whether or not he's being unreasonable. Because, Rich, for as much money as the owners have, they don't want to pay a penny more than they have to. And when you look at coaching pay over the last 50 years and player pay, one has gone up astronomically and one relative to the other hasn't. So is $15 million unreasonable? I don't know. They're talking about paying Jared Goff $45 million. Which guy would I rather have? Would I rather have Ben Johnson at 15 or Goff at 45? So my point is, I'm uncomfortable with the reporting that this guy is being unreasonable in his asking price without at least giving him a chance to respond. And I've tried to get in touch with Richmond Flowers, his agent. I haven't heard back, but I just think we need to see what is it from Johnson's perspective. I think it's too delicate and it's too potentially damaging to Johnson's future career to just throw out this idea that he's being unreasonable, he wants too much money, and it has spooked multiple teams. That's hard to come back from if you're Ben Johnson.
So the question I have then is when a candidate who is so red hot as Ben Johnson is says, I'm staying put, and makes that announcement while one of the ownership groups that's interested in hiring you and clearly waited till it was time to speak with you is in the air on the way to speak with you, that means one of two things, that he just was never going to go, or that he was leaning towards never going in the first place, that he's likes where he is because of a new financial package that's been put there on the table for him, and that matches his love for the area. That I'm assuming he has a spouse and family that may like staying there. Or the other thing is he's already gotten wind that he's not getting the gig. So you might as well just get out in front of it and say, I love my area and I just think my team is so awesome, I want to stay here. Those are my 2 cents on that. So I'm just wondering again, why? Because the Commanders are such an attractive gig, one would think, in the NFC East, the second overall pick, a ton of cap space, some weapons that are already there, a new ownership group that is just going to absolutely pull out all the stops because it is their first such roll of this carpet. So I'm just wondering what you think happened or have heard has happened on that.
Last year, when he removed his name from consideration, that was the natural reaction by many, that he just thought he wasn't going to get a job. So let's go ahead and make it look like I'm choosing to stay put.
Sure.
You mentioned the possibility of an enhanced financial package to stay with the Lions. Shefty also tweeted a few after the asking price spooked multiple teams that he's not getting a sweetener, that he's not getting any new financial package to stay put. So why are they flying to see him if he knows he's not going to get the job? I just think that we have to account for the possibility that something made him say, this isn't right for me. that something made him say, this team still has work to do to get to the point where it's an attractive destination for a head coach who really has one shot, to go back to the M&M stuff. You got one shot. Look at Steve Spagnuolo. He still can't live down the disaster that was his stint with the Rams that might have not been his fault at all. Dysfunctional mess, quite possibly. Horrible couple of years. He's had some masterful playoff game plans. His name never even gets mentioned for another head coaching job. So you have to go into it saying, I get one chance. And you got to set aside the lure of the title and the money and say, this needs to be right for me. And there was something about my meeting with this person or that person. There was something about this. I don't know. It still smells like Dan Snyder in here. Something as simple as that. But it could be that Ben Johnson said, I'm content to wait a year because the current option doesn't feel right to me. We just don't know. We don't know because it's all been plastered over to a 10.7 million follower X account that he's spooking teams because he wants too much money. That's the problem I have with it.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.